It was a dark and stormy night. David and his girlfriend, Lisa, were driving along a deserted road, looking for a place to spend the night. They had been on a road trip for a week, and they wanted to explore some of the old towns and villages along the way. They had heard of a mansion that was rumored to be haunted, and they decided to check it out. They found the mansion after following a dirt road that led to a large iron gate. The gate was open, and they drove through it. The mansion loomed in front of them, a massive structure of stone and wood with many windows and towers. It looked like something out of a Gothic novel. "Wow, this place is amazing," Lisa said as they parked their car in front of the mansion. "Do you think anyone lives here?" "I doubt it," David said as he got out of the car and grabbed their backpacks. "It looks abandoned. Maybe we can find a room to stay for the night. It'll be fun." "Fun? You mean scary," Lisa said as she followed him. "What if there are ghosts or monsters or something?" "Don't be silly," David said as he walked towards the main door. "There's no such thing as ghosts or monsters. It's just an old house. Come on, let's go inside." They pushed the door open and entered the mansion. The interior was dark and dusty, with cobwebs and broken furniture everywhere. They used their flashlights to look around and saw a grand staircase that led to the upper floors and several doors that opened to different rooms. "Wow, this place is huge," David said as he walked towards the staircase. "Let's go upstairs and see if we can find a bedroom." "Are you sure?" Lisa said as she hesitated. "Maybe we should just sleep in the car. This place gives me the creeps." "Don't be a chicken," David said as he grabbed her hand and pulled her along. "It'll be an adventure. Come on, it'll be fun." They climbed the staircase and reached the second floor. They saw a long hallway with many doors on both sides. They tried some of the doors, but they were all locked or jammed. "Maybe we should try the third floor," David said as he walked towards another staircase. "Maybe there's a room there." "Or maybe we should just leave," Lisa said as she followed him. "This place is creepy. I don't like it here." "Stop being paranoid," David said as he reached the third floor. "There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just an old house. Look, there's a door that's open. Let's go inside." They entered the room and saw that it was a bedroom. There was a large bed covered with a dusty sheet, a wardrobe, a dresser, and a fireplace. There was also a window that looked out to the stormy night. "See, this is perfect," David said as he dropped their backpacks on the floor. "We can sleep here for the night. It's cozy and warm." "Cozy and warm?" Lisa said as she looked around. "This place is filthy and cold, and what if someone comes and finds us here? What if the owner of the house comes back?" "Who cares?" David said as he walked towards the bed. "We're not hurting anyone. We're just staying for one night, and I doubt anyone lives here. This place is deserted. Come on, let's get some rest. We've been driving all day." He pulled the sheet off the bed and saw that it was stained with blood. He gasped and dropped the sheet. "What's wrong?" Lisa said as she walked towards him. "What did you see?" "Look," David said as he pointed to the bed. "There's blood on the bed. Someone was killed here." Lisa screamed and backed away from the bed. She saw that there was also blood on the floor and on the walls. She realized that the room was a crime scene and that they had walked into a nightmare. "Let's get out of here," David said as he grabbed their backpacks. "Let's go back to the car. This place is dangerous." They ran out of the room and headed towards the staircase. They heard a loud thud behind them and turned around. They saw that the door of the room had slammed shut and that it was locked. "What the hell?" David said as he tried to open the door. "It's locked. How did that happen?" "Maybe it's the wind," Lisa said as she shivered. "Maybe the wind blew the door shut." "Or maybe it's something else," David said as he looked around. "Maybe there's someone here. Maybe there's someone who doesn't want us to leave." They heard a creaking sound and saw that the other doors in the hallway were opening. They saw shadows moving in the dark and heard whispers and moans. "Who's there?" David said as he raised his flashlight. "Who are you? What do you want?" They heard a laugh, a cold and cruel laugh that echoed in the hall. They saw a figure emerge from one of the rooms, a figure that was dressed in a black cloak and wore a mask of metal. The mask had no eyes, no nose, no mouth, only a slit for a mouth. The figure held a knife in its hand, a knife that was dripping with blood. "Who are you?" David repeated as he backed away from the figure. "What do you want?" The figure did not answer but moved towards them, slowly and steadily. It raised its knife and spoke in a raspy voice. "I am the master of this house," it said, "and you are my guests. You are here to play a game of life and death, a game of madness." The figure lunged at them and stabbed David in the chest. David screamed and fell to the floor. Lisa screamed and ran towards the staircase. She tried to escape, but the figure was faster. It grabbed her by the hair and dragged her back to the room. It threw her on the bed and pinned her down. It raised its knife and smiled. "Welcome to the Mansion of Madness," it said. "You will never leave. You will never be free. You will only suffer. You will only die." It plunged its knife into her heart and laughed. Lisa's eyes widened and then closed. She was dead. The figure stood up and looked at the corpses of David and Lisa. It was satisfied. It had won the game. It had killed them. It had killed them all. It walked out of the room and locked the door. It walked down the hallway and closed the other doors. It walked down the staircase and left the mansion. It walked to the gate and closed it. It walked to the road and disappeared into the night. It was gone, but it would be back. It would always be back, for there were always more guests, more victims, more players, more madness. This spine-chilling story is going to be featured in my last video for today. Make sure to grab a seat and join in. The night hung heavy over Blackwood Manor, its presence suffocating. I, a writer seeking inspiration, had ventured into the forsaken halls of this ancient abode. The weight of the mansion's dark history pressed upon me as I crossed the threshold, my heart racing with trepidation. The foyer, adorned with faded opulence, whispered tales of a bygone era. Dust coated every surface, and the air was stale, laden with the suffocating scent of decay. The silence was unsettling, broken only by the occasional creak of floorboards underfoot. Driven by curiosity tinged with fear, I navigated the labyrinthine corridors. Portraits of the Blackwood family stared down at me, their eyes following my every move. The flickering candlelight cast eerie shadows that danced across the peeling wallpaper, as if the walls themselves were alive. As the night deepened, an ominous change swept through the manor. The temperature dropped, and a chilling wind whispered through the corridors, carrying with it a mournful melody. I felt a presence, a spectral energy that seemed to seep from the very walls, as if the house harbored a life force of its own. Phantom whispers echoed in the dark, chilling me to the core. Apparitions materialized before me, their translucent forms a testament to the tragedy that had befallen this once grand estate. Their anguished eyes bore into mine, imploring me to unearth the secrets that bound them. Desperate to escape, I attempted to flee, but the doors slammed shut, trapping me within the malevolent grasp of Blackwood Manor. Panic clawed at my throat as I raced through the corridors, chased by unseen forces, their icy breath brushing against my skin. In my quest for refuge, I ascended to the attic, the heart of the mansion's darkness. It was there that I unearthed the truth, a tale of betrayal and unspeakable tragedy that had torn the Blackwood family asunder. The spirits, restless and tormented, converged around me, their spectral forms pulsating with a furious energy. They demanded retribution, their ethereal wails reaching a deafening crescendo. But amidst their cacophony, a singular figure stood out, the matriarch of the Blackwood family, her sorrowful gaze locking with mine. In that moment, the attic trembled with an otherworldly force. The spirits surged forward, their rage intensifying. I felt a cold hand close around my wrist, pulling me deeper into the maelstrom of despair. Yet, in the midst of the chaos, the matriarch's ghostly visage softened. Her silent plea for forgiveness resonated within me. With trembling hands, I reached out, offering solace to the tormented souls trapped within the confines of the cursed manor. A blinding flash enveloped the attic, and an eerie calm settled upon Blackwood Manor. The spectral figures faded into the ether, their anguished cries silenced. I stood alone, the weight of the mansion's history heavy upon my shoulders. As the spectral storm within the attic subsided, an eerie tranquility settled over Blackwood Manor. The air, once heavy with despair, now held a fragile peace. Yet, uncertainty lingered in the very walls of the mansion, a silent reminder of the horrors that had unfolded. I stood amidst the fading echoes of the spirits, the weight of their torment still clinging to my soul. The attic, once a vortex of malevolence, now seemed eerily serene, the dust dancing lazily in the pale moonlight that filtered through the cracked windows. But peace in Blackwood Manor was a fragile illusion. The mansion, steeped in a history of betrayal and tragedy, refused to release its grasp on the living. Shadows crept along the walls, their movements ominous and deliberate, whispering of a lingering malevolence. Despite the spirit's departure, the curse that had plagued this cursed abode was far from lifted. The walls seemed to reverberate with a hidden power, an unseen force that sought to ensnare anyone who dared to tread upon its haunted grounds. Haunted by the visions and the lingering presence of the Blackwood family, I knew that my task was far from over. Determined to uncover the truth and perhaps break the curse, I delved deeper into the mansion's secrets. Room after room revealed fragments of the family's tragic past, a tale of greed, betrayal, and a legacy stained with blood. The portraits that once seemed lifeless now bore witness to the agonizing history etched into the very fabric of Blackwood Manor. In my search for answers, I stumbled upon a hidden chamber concealed behind a false wall. The room exuded an otherworldly aura, its walls adorned with cryptic symbols and arcane writings. Amongst the artifacts lay a journal, a testament to the Blackwood matriarch's descent into darkness. As I pored over the journal's pages, a chilling revelation unfolded. The matriarch, driven by a thirst for power, had made a pact with forces beyond comprehension, a sinister bargain that sealed the family's fate and bound them to the mansion for eternity. The realization struck me with a cold dread. The curse wasn't merely a product of tragedy. It was an unholy pact that tethered the spirits to Blackwood Manor, their suffering a consequence of the matriarch's reckless ambition. Armed with newfound knowledge, I sought to undo the curse. But the mansion, sensing my intentions, resisted. Doors slammed shut, corridors shifted, and whispers echoed with a newfound urgency, warning me to cease my investigation. Yet, driven by a desperate determination, I pressed on, invoking ancient incantations and performing rituals in an attempt to sever the cursed tether that bound the spirits to this malevolent place. As the night wore on, the very foundations of the mansion trembled. A tempest brewed within Blackwood Manor, an ethereal storm of anger and despair unleashed by my meddling. The walls shook violently, and a vortex of spectral energy coalesced in the attic once more. The spirits, their anguish reignited, surged forth with a furious vengeance, their howls piercing the night. In the midst of the chaos, I stood resolute, the weight of the curse bearing down upon me. The matriarch's ghostly figure materialized, her eyes filled with both fury and sorrow. The matriarch's gaze bore into mine, a mix of wrath and pleading. The spirits, swirling around in a cacophony of agony, seemed on the brink of unleashing their wrath upon me for daring to tamper with the curse that held them. As the matriarch's spectral form wavered, a whisper, a plea for forgiveness, reached my ears. In that fleeting moment, I understood the depth of her torment, the desperation that had driven her to make that unholy pact. With a pang of empathy, I extended a hand toward her, a silent offer of understanding and absolution. A blinding light erupted, engulfing the attic in a brilliant glow. The ethereal storm waned, the spectral figures gradually dissipating into the ether, their cries fading into a haunting echo. In the aftermath, a profound stillness settled upon Blackwood Manor. The mansion stood silent, the curse broken, the spirits finally finding release from their centuries-long torment. Exhausted and shaken, I stood alone in the attic, the weight of the mansion's dark legacy slowly lifting. The air felt lighter, the oppressive atmosphere that once suffocated the manor now replaced with a sense of serenity. As I descended from the attic, the mansion seemed to exhale a sigh of relief. The moon cast its gentle glow upon the ancient stone walls, and for the first time, the fading moonlight carried a hint of tranquility. Leaving Blackwood Manor behind, I carried with me the echoes of the haunting, the tale of tragedy and redemption that had unfolded within those cursed walls. The spirits of the Blackwood family had found peace, their legacy redeemed by a moment of understanding and forgiveness. The once dreaded mansion, now devoid of its malevolent presence, stood as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the power of empathy and compassion to break even the darkest of curses. And as I walked away from Blackwood Manor, I couldn't help but feel a sense of closure, knowing that the souls once tormented within those haunted halls could finally rest in eternal peace.